Okay, you guys, so we are on the second section of 15 undeniable laws of communication. And I will say, I felt like this part of the book, a lot of it was geared more towards people who who are public speakers. Did you get that? So what I tried to do is spin it in a way of like some of the things I think just didn't apply to all of us on the call right now, cell plexus. So I am comfortable going in that direction. So there were some sections where I just wrote public speaking or writing a book next to, but and I'm like, it's just, I can't make this apply. But some of the sections, I felt like some of the parts of it, I kind of spun it in my head to make it about like going live videos, right? Where we're not standing on a stage talking for 45 minutes, but we are going live for 5 minutes. And so a lot of it is relevant to that. And then a lot of it, what's interesting is it rang very true for me, and we'll get there, but I don't know if any of you do Brock Johnson's training for Insta Club Hub for Instagram training, but he and his mom were really the first ones pushing that we have a niche. And then of course at convention, they were like, drop the niche, just post regular, whatever. What my thing is, what works for you? Like, for some people, I think a niche helps because it helps them like stay focused in what they're going to share about, and they're sharing. So anyway, some of the things he shared about, I was like, this is very much niche, like finding your niche and posting about it or sharing about it, right? So I just wanted to preface with that and see if you guys thought kind of this along the same lines, that some of this I was like, this is one day when I'm a keynote speaker. What do you got, Angie?
I wrote going live in the margin.
Did you write that before I said it?
Yes, I did.
See?
That's in the part where it says in chapter 5, where it says aspiring communicators often ask me, what advice do you have for me if I want to start speaking? My first piece of advice is start speaking. So you can't wait till you're good at it to start doing it. And that's my hang up with going live. It's like, I'm not good at it. I'm not good at it. So that's what it said to me, is I just got to do it.
Yeah. And Amy says the same thing. She thought the same thing about going live and also at Sip and Seas, because that's really, I know I've shared this with you before, but people lots of times will be like, I just can't go live. I'm not as good as you. And I'm like, I've been going live since, like, they pop up in my time hop, like 7 years. 7 years. I have been just most days popping on and saying something that maybe nobody cares about. Like, and you could go back and look on my YouTube page when Deanna and I first started doing trainings 6-7 years ago, when my brain injury was still very active and full of symptoms. And I look at those and I'm like, Lord of mercy. And yet there I was, like stumbling over my words, super long pauses, but doing it, so starting, and with the law of preparation, chapter 4, he talked about, like, again, what he talked about at convention, like, you can't do what I do without doing what I did. This came up at convention. There was somebody who didn't want to stay for all of the stuff, and was like, Christy, you could just teach me all this stuff. And my sweet husband, who had sat through the John Maxwell thing, was like, Christy has never missed a single meeting. Like, you don't get where she is without going to every single thing. showing up for there's not like a shortcut. There's not a shortcut to Jewel. There is, I guess, the influencers, the reality TV stars, the whatever, but for the rest of us, it's just you keep showing up and you keep going live. 3 years ago when I lived in Florida, I was pretty nervous, not nervous, but I was like, what do I have to share? So this is something, I don't know if it'd be helpful for you, but it falls along the lines of the law of preparation, right? So what I would do every single morning, while I went on a walk or worked out or whatever, is I would listen to, I lots of times will just go into YouTube and type in motivation. And there's always great motivational videos, where there's music in the background and they're talking to you or whatever. So I would do that every single morning. And then I have forever and a day, how he talks about his filing system, how he files notes. And I had heard that from him before, but in my notes section on my phone, there is, let's see, it's called motivation. And every time, you can't really see it, but every single time I hear a quote or somebody say something that really strikes me, I put it in there in this. And so if I don't have anything to post or don't know if I have anything to say, I go in here, look, it goes on and on and on. I maybe should organize it, but I'll just scroll and say what hits me today. I saved it when I thought, but look, I'm still going, of like motivational thoughts, or if I'm reading a book. So what I would do, I made a pact to myself that I would go live for 90 days in a row. But that can be overwhelming because you're like, I don't really have 90 days worth of things to say. So what I would do is I would listen to motivation or pick up a book, and I would, like, when something struck me, I would go live and I would just reiterate it in my own terms. Right? Because he talks about here, you want to share messages that, so right here, page 71, any message I want to deliver must speak to me before it can speak to others. If it hasn't helped me, it cannot help others. And that is really how I got super comfortable going live, is I regurgitated something that was meaningful to me. At each morning, I was like, I would listen and I'd be like, that's it. Sometimes I'd have to listen to a few videos and they'd be like, oh, that's it. And then I would jump off whatever I was listening to and jump on live. Regardless of what I look like, regardless of what I was wearing, if it hit me, I went live about it, because that goes along the lines of, he talks about it. I don't know. We'll get to it. And then I'll be like, that's what I was talking about. What do you guys think? Because going live, I feel like is really critical to growing your business, because my thing was I wanted to add motivation. I didn't want to just be selling Plexus. I wanted to add value to anybody that was on my page, and after a while it did. I would see people like at the grocery who I didn't know, and they'd be like, first thing I do in the morning is jump on your Facebook page to see what you've gone live about. And it wasn't too much. It would be like never more than 5 minutes. I think it was maybe a Bob Heilig challenge or something when we were all listening to Bob Heilig years ago. But hearing that was so cool, of like, I jump on just to see like what you've got to say that morning to pump me up. And I was like, that's really cool. Sometimes I might share something about Plexus, but mostly I was just trying to add value, which brought people to my page, and then I would post about Plexus. And that, to me, the preparation was listening to other people, right? And then just saying it in my own words, being a copycat, which of course Rachel Hollis got sued for, but I'm definitely not on the level of Rachel Hollis. So I'm going to copycat all day long. Sometimes I have my own great thoughts. Sometimes I use others. Let's see, page 73. What do I want them to see? Their possibilities. So when we're sharing, whether it's in a post or in a live, when people see their possibilities, their world expands. And I loved this. I want to help people shift from asking, can I, to how can I? Can I is filled with doubt. How can I is positive and determined. It's filled with possibilities, encourages problem solving. Isn't that what we're doing in Plexus? Is trying to help people see the possibilities of how much better they can feel? At the end of the day, and that's where if you haven't seen the training I did Wednesday about what is Plexus, how to answer that, go back and watch it. But it's just asking them 2 questions of things they struggle with and how that's a problem in their life. And then suddenly, you know what we're able to do? Help them see the possibility of how their life can be better. I'm kind of loving how it all feels like it goes together this week. What do you think, Angie?
Yeah, what comes up for me when I'm reading this book is my years in the classroom, because being a teacher, you're a speaker. I did a lot of winging it. Obviously I had to prepare lessons, but when I delivered the lesson, it was mostly winging it. I would have like an outline in mind. But in the collaboration chapter, when he talks about working with your team, and getting feedback and then adjusting, I was thinking, yeah, that's kind of like in teaching how the way you teach at first period is not the way you teach at the last period of the day. It just changes over the course of the day. But what really echoed for me in my head between these 2 chapters about the preparation and then collaboration is the time my aunt asked me if I wanted to speak at my grandmother's funeral. And of course I did. And my husband and I were driving because my grandmother lived in Oklahoma and I'm in Southeast Texas, for anybody who might not know that. And so we had a 10-hour drive to get there. And I had thoughts rolling around in my head. And what I knew I didn't want to do was just stand up there and tell a series of stories and then go sit down and say, I'm done. That's all I have to say, and go sit down. I wanted there to be some, and it's the teacher in me. I wanted there to be some cohesion in it. So stuff echoed for me out of the preparation and also the collaboration, because it was in the car. I was driving and I started talking to my husband about what I wanted to say. And it's that idea of working together and even just having somebody to listen to what my thoughts were and say the thoughts out loud. It started to come together. So that's just, I don't know, that's kind of where I'm at with those 2 chapters. I haven't gotten to chapter 6 yet, but that was what was echoing for me, was the preparation and the collaboration. I was like, yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I agree. Anybody else have other thoughts? Other things to add?
It brought me back to the classroom too, but I was just looking here at I guess I'm on page 74. It says too many kids grow up in a negative scarcity environment where they have never seen their their possibilities. Let's teach and show them who they can become if they develop their potential. And that is where a lot of our customers are coming from as well when we're talking to them, even just one-on-one. We have to be able to show them the possibilities, and show them what they could be and what it could be.
1 gazillion%. And I think that goes right because it talks about then on the next page, 75, the purpose of communication isn't to impress your audience, it's to empower your audience. And then if you go to page 111, right in the middle, and it says, as you prepare a message, always start with finding out who your audience is and considering your subject from their point of view. So he tells the story about a pastor of one of the biggest churches was going to be leading a huge seminar of pastors. And he talks about how his guidance to him was to begin sharing about what it was like when he was a brand new pastor, when he didn't know what he was doing or how he was going to do it, because he needed to close the gap. And I immediately went to, how do we close the gap with Plexus? Like those of us who have been on it for so long, we have such amazing stories, right, of our transformation, of all the different things it's helped us with. And now we very much post and share from a spot of where we are years later. But if I go back and think, like when I started Plexus, like it wasn't even that I was skeptical, it was that I was completely hopeless. Like I had tried everything. I was on 13 medicines. I had 7 different doctors. Like I was at 1 gazillion% hopeless that anything would help me. And I feel like there's a lot of people that are there. And we have to go back there, which can be hard because we're 8 years forward, right? But closing the gap of like, right. And again, it goes back to when we're answering, what is Plexus? When somebody tells us what's bothering them, what are we supposed to say? Same. This is how it showed up in my life, or this is how it showed up in my friend's Amy's life, who had the same thing. And so often people will be like, but you're so much better. I mean, I couldn't tell that you were ever sick. I was like, it's unbelievable,
Exactly.
right? But closing the gap. And I know, Angie, you haven't had a chance to read that chapter yet, but that was something that stood out to me so much when we're speaking and when we're posting, is how do we close the gap? I am guilty of continuing to post about the new things that are coming out, but it really, I maybe don't do a good enough job of going back and looking at, what it was like for me 7 years ago. I mean, I don't know if you probably didn't see it at all. It really wasn't relevant to anything yesterday, but I posted an old video from 2016 where Andrew is just sitting there telling the world, I'm filming it, about this pool he's going to design in our backyard. Well, if you look closely, I am laying in bed, not because I was tired. I am in bed and he is coming to me in my bed, telling me about the pool he's going to build in our backyard, because I was at a phase in life where I was having seizures so regularly that I was in bed for like 6 weeks. And I look back at that and I'm like, oh, gosh, now I only lay in bed like if I'm like choose to. But going back, closing that gap, and I know that you guys all have amazing stories. And you've closed the gap, but you may need to go back to the beginning to start sharing it again with the people who don't know that story or who have forgotten that story. Or does that make sense? I mean, what are your thoughts? I've rambled a lot, but that's part of, to me, preparation, part of content, part of connecting. What do you think?
No, that makes a lot of sense. It's making me think about how I can do that, because my original before picture popped up last week, because it was 9 years ago this month that I started using Plexus. And I deliberately did not take a before picture, because I hated how I looked, but I have a picture that my mom snapped because my nephew and I were visiting my mom in Oklahoma, and we went and drove go-karts, and my mom snapped a picture of us getting off the go-karts. Me at 215 pounds. And it's, yeah.
Yeah.
So, and I look at that and think, because right now I don't feel good about where I'm at right now, but I look at that and say, okay, but I'm not there. I'm still not there.
Yes.
I'm still better off than I was then, even though I'm not happy with where I'm at right now.
Yeah. Yes. And there are a lot of people who would love to be where you are now.
Mhm.
Do you know what I'm saying? Like you may
Yeah.
still want to go farther, but there's a lot of
Right.
people who would love to be where you are, who are where you were.
Right.
And
Right.
I think it's still relevant to share that, even though it was 9 years ago. Like sharing the journey, people can relate to the journey.
Right. Well, and we have to remember that life is a journey and health is a journey. It's not a destination. It's not someplace that you arrive at and okay, here I am to stay. It's always a journey.
Yeah. I mean, like I was in the best shape of my life when I blew out my shoulder. So now I haven't been in the gym and, went back this week for the first time in 20 weeks. Like I'm not, and if it wasn't for plexus, I think my body would be in a much different place after 20 weeks of sitting. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We have such beautiful stories to tell,
Mhm.
but telling them and not being ashamed of where we are right now, because we're still on the journey, being so
Right.
proud of where we are and knowing how many people want to be right where you are and then want to link arms with you to go,
Even
you're a great
further.
example. You know what I'm saying? Like any of us who have succeeded are a great example of where other people can go.
What if you
Yeah.
feel like you're starting your journey all over? Because where I was 8 years ago, whenever I started, is not where I'm at now. When I started 8 years ago, I was married, I was pregnant with my second kid. Life was better and easier then. Now I'm divorced, I have the responsibility of the two kids, activities, the stress. Like I'm feeling it in my body. I am hurting so bad, just the stress, going to a chiropractor and stuff like that. And I feel like has been my hang up is I don't have like the story I had 8 years ago is not where I'm at now. And I don't feel like I can tell that story anymore. And I need to create my new story. But again, I haven't been like consistent with the products. But I'm so tired, I can't be consistent. And it's excuses, but it's that vicious cycle. You're too tired, so you don't do this, but then you don't do that. And it just continues to go around and round. And I'm kind of tired of being stuck on this cycle. And I know I need to change it. I just can't pull myself out of it. So one of the chapters talked about like, you have to be able to speak on what you know about. And I feel like I don't know about plexus anymore. Because I don't have my story anymore. That story back then is not who I am today. I know I'm in feel it in my face. I can feel it in my body.
Okay, but you still know what's possible.
I think I've
Because
lost part of that. So I think I do need to start going back and hearing more and more testimonies to know what's possible.
You know what it is, Abby? I think you're like somebody brand new that just joined that is creating a new story.
Mm-hmm.
Like if somebody just joins your team right now, that's what you are. A lot of things have happened. And I think what you just described, I think there are thousands of women who are in your exact same boat, because I know so many people during COVID that got divorced, that got out of shape, that got like, and they're just now, some of them starting to be like, okay, let me figure this out. That all happened. That all sucked. Now I'm in this new spot and I don't even know where to go from here. And I think you're starting a whole brand new story, and it's the perfect opportunity to bring people with you. I think there's nothing better than being vulnerable and sharing. And I don't even know that you have to ever even acknowledge. I think you can acknowledge your desire to bring plexus back into it
Mhm.
from the basis of 8, 9 years ago, it helped me so much. But now I'm like a completely different person, and I'm ready to add this back to my toolkit to have the energy again, to get rid of the aches and pains and the stress. And, I'm doing this again. And who wants to do it with me? Like, this is what's happening.
Well, and I was thinking also like like sometimes we're coached to tell the newbies who say, well, I don't want to post yet because I don't have a story. Post about the hope that you feel for what's possible.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't even know that you have to acknowledge anything except for where you are now and what you're doing now,
Okay.
honestly, because there's thousands of women that are going to connect to where you are right now, that have found themselves divorced, single moms, needing more money, exhausted. I mean, I was a single mom for 9 years, and there's not a more exhausting job, I don't think, than working and being a single mom. So I think you're just launching again. It's kind of like, Abby, it's kind of like you're starting a brand new business. Your old plexus business closed, and you're starting a new one with a new perspective and a new why and a new desire for things that your body needs help with.
It's funny that you're saying that, because as you're saying this, I'm starting to think about a book that I'm reading. It's by Christine Kane. I'm drawing a blank on the name of it, but it's basically you can't look back on your past. And it's funny how I'm just thinking this, it's God week, but you can't look back on your past. You can't look in your rear view mirror. You need to look forward. And I'm starting to realize that my whole hindrance with plexus, because I was looking in the past, the rear view mirror, and not looking to where I am and owning where I'm at, and then looking at the possibility.
Yeah, I
Perfect.
100% would be sharing from a perspective of a brand new person who's never shared plexus. I mean, when's the last time you shared about plexus? I mean, you may have recently, but really, when's the last time you worked plexus regularly?
I can't even tell you. It's been years.
Okay, so you're just a brand new plexus ambassador.
Okay.
In my mind, that's how I would train you, is as a brand new person. And I think that's how you should look at it from your perspective, is as a brand new person with no concern about the past or what could have been or where would I be if I had kept working, like none of that.
Mhm.
None of that. Just like, here I am and I'm going because I know it can benefit me.
Okay.
That's
Thank you,
You're welcome.
Angie.
Yes.
He said thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
Okay, page 80. I like this. So how can I make it personal? The best way I know to do this is to pair what they do know with what they don't know. What they know is based on their organization, culture, personal experience, and national origin. What they don't know is the insight I'm trying to communicate to them. That puts my message into their context. So we can do this with sales all day long, right? We're going to take what they know and we're going to add what we know and put it together so that they have more information and our communication is valuable to them. I think it's not talking over them. It's not talking. Did I skip over? I don't know where it is. Did you read the part of the book? I don't even know if it's chapter 6, where the little boy asks his dad why his apple turned brown. Angie, if you didn't read that, it's in chapter 6.
Yeah.
It's towards the end of this session.
Okay. But he's like, little boy asks his dad why his apple turned brown, and his dad kind of gives him the science behind it. And the little boy is like, are you talking to me? Like, right? Because, and we can be guilty of that when we know so much stuff. We can be guilty of talking over people's head. And again, I don't think we don't mean to. It's just we have this much knowledge. I'm not very guilty of that because, again, as everybody knows, I don't know jack squat about science or ingredients or anything. But there are people that do. And if you are that person, be careful not to talk over people's heads because it won't connect to them. On page 84, where he talks about continual preparation brings continual improvement and how he had to just speak a lot. And I wrote to this, so I highlighted second to the last paragraph. I've been told that mathematicians discount any statistics that lack necessary frequency. For example, if you flip a coin 10 times, you'll rarely experience a 50-50 split between heads and tails. However, if you flip a coin 100 times, it's usually pretty close. You guys, we're in a numbers game. And it's really unfair to say, well, I posted every day this week and I reached out to 10 people and I haven't signed any new customers. Any statistician will tell you, you don't have enough data to work with, right? Call me when you've posted 1,000 times and you've reached out to 500 people. And then let's look at the numbers. Now we can start doing the law of averages. Like that's one, he's comparing it to like his speaking getting better and better. And, it talks about James Clear, Atomic Habits, which if you haven't read Atomic Habits, it's amazing. Get it on Audible and just listen to it when you're working out or something, but so good. But it's consistency, showing up over and over and over again, going live, like whatever it means to you. But if you are having the belief that I'm not really good at selling plexus, but if you're being honest, you haven't done enough of the things that you need to do every single day to become successful at plexus, you do not have enough data to work with to make a judgment on yourself. It's as simple as that. Get more data. Go live more, post more. For heaven's sakes, reach out to people more. That's all. Let more people tell you no. Let's see. Your success, bottom of 86, but also in the box on 87. Your success in your career will be in direct proportion to what you do after you've done what you're expected to do. That's just customer service all day long. How are you taking care of people? Or also, how are you continuing to build a relationship with people that told you no? That's pretty big. I will tell you that was my biggest mistake when I was new in plexus, is if people told me no, thank you, or I'm not interested, I was somewhat embarrassed or whatever, and I just kind of like shied away from them. I don't do that anymore. Like you can tell me no all day long. I'm still here showing up. Hi, I'm your friend, Christy. You can say no to me all day long. Still your friend, Christy, still going to be showing up. Right? So I think people are used to, when dealing with people in network marketing, we've all seen the complaints of like that girl who I haven't seen since, senior year of high school reached out and tried to sell me, blah, 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 like stay out of my DMs, like the negative side of network marketing. That becomes negative when the high school girl who reached out to somebody to try to sell them something, once the person says no, thank you, they go away.
Yeah.
What if you keep showing up? What if you keep like, a week later, I just saw that picture of you guys at Disney. How much fun is that? Like, what if you prove them wrong and you're actually, You might have shown up in their DMs because they're posting about depression and you know you can help, but you keep showing up because even though you haven't seen them since high school, you are interested in them. And you know you can help them and you're going to engage in whichever way makes sense. What about that? That right there is showing up after they think you've done what you wanted to do. They thought you showed up to sell them something. You actually showed up to keep connecting so that hopefully you can serve them when they're ready. You see the difference in that?
Mhm.
All right. Other thoughts? The law of collaboration is next. And you know, collaboration works great in our industry if you have a good group of people to chat with, to talk with, to grow with. And that can sometimes be hard. You know, sometimes you feel like you're all alone doing this all by yourself. I feel that regularly. Of like, am I the only human being that like is trying to do this? I know that I'm not, but I'm definitely the only person in my house trying to do this. Do you know what I'm saying? Like when you don't, when you have a running buddy, it is the best feeling ever. But I have learned over 8 years, 8.5 years of continuing to run. Here's the thing about me. I have run many marathons, all 26 miles, many half marathons. I am not fast. I am always, but I have the same pace and I could pace anybody if you want a slow pace. You know, if you want to finish your marathon at 11.5 minute miles, run with Christy Barkley. Like, you're not going to win anything, but you're going to get the same medal. And we always joke in my family, like, I'm not the fastest, but if you can't catch me in the first couple minutes, I will outrun you because I just don't stop. My Plexus business has been very much the same way. I just do it. And I have been doing it every day and I have never quit doing it. But I have had running partners. I have had best friends. I have had people who wanted it as much as I did stop and not. And just like, I can't do it anymore, doesn't fit, all valid reasons. No friendships have been burned in the telling of this story. Just, it wasn't right for them anymore. And here I am still with my slow pace. Like, I'm going to get diamond one day. I don't know when I'm going to get there, but because I run a little bit every day, I'm going to get there. And I can't tell you how many runners I have had that don't do anything anymore. And it can be so lonely. But I want you guys to never, ever take it for granted and make it a pact with yourself that you're just going to get up and run a little bit each day. Even if nobody is running with you. Because here is the other thing I've learned of running slowly for this long is that somebody else is going to come. They might hop in at mile 11. They might hop in at mile 14 and be like, hey, I'm going to run with you for a little while. And I'm like, awesome, let's go. And then they may drop out at mile 18 and somebody else may come in at, it's real. It really, that's the way this business works. Like every diamond will tell you, they didn't get emerald. They didn't go sapphire with the same group of people that got them emerald. They didn't go diamond with the same group of people that got them sapphire. I wish we did. I really adore the group of people I would help me get emerald. None of them are working right now, which means bringing new people on, collaborating, right? Any thoughts? I don't know if this is even just helpful so that you know one day what it looks like, because you would think people at the top of the company have all these people to work with every single day. I was talking to Sonia Dudley about 6 months ago, and she said, I'm finally ready to dig in again. And, you know, she was the 5th diamond. Helen McFadden, her best friend, was the second diamond ever in Plexus. And she said, you know, we've kind of been coasting for a while, but I'm ready to dig back in and actively. She said, I haven't won a contest in forever. She didn't win gala 2 years in a row. And she's like, I'm finally ready to go again. Like I miss the camaraderie. I miss all of it. So it happens to everybody. If Sonia Dudley can not work for a while, a gold ambassador on your team, a silver ambassador cannot work for a while. A ruby can, does that make sense? Like it's not you. It is them. And only you get to decide what you want to do each day. And keep inviting people to jog with you. At least that's what I do. You don't have to do it. But that is the law of collaboration, right? Like getting people to jump on board and do this with you. Like customers are great, but business builders are better. Let's see. He talks about the number one time waster is looking for things that are lost. I told you my remarkable motivation note section that goes on and has 0 categories. Reading this, I was like, I should maybe put those in categories. Maybe I should have different categories. I don't know. 102. Those are post ideas. Share your heart, help somebody, be funny, or offer hope all day long. It's what we're posting about, right? He's talking about public speaking. We're talking about what we do. Those are post ideas that have been shared with us a lot, but that's what I did. Okay. The law of content. I really loved second paragraph in 107 that if content is king, then communication is queen. They rule together and they cannot be separated. What value does content have if it's not communicated with anyone? And what value does communication have if there is no content? If ever there was a greater guidance to our posting and our going live is like, how many of you know amazing things that you've never shared with anybody because you're like, nobody cares, or they maybe already know that, or somebody else knows more about that, so I won't say anything. I'm the only one.
No, for me, it's just to get around to it part.
Okay.
I started out a little over a year ago planning that I was going to, I don't want to say periodically, but occasionally share book reviews of what I had read.
Mhm.
And I went back through my timeline earlier this week and found it's been over a year since I shared a book that I read. Actually, I think I shared one in December, but like since that time, I've only shared 5 book reviews.
Okay.
And I made this whole list of books that I've been intending to review that in my brain, it's turned into, did I ever review that one? So I have a list now. Stay tuned for book reviews.
Well, what if you even started doing it as simply as I do it? Have you seen mine?
I have. But what are you referring to specifically? How you do it?
So
'Cause I see a handful of people that give book reviews.
yeah, I'm not. So I have books of 2023 in my notes section, and every time I finish, it's got the month, and every time I finish the book, I just write the name of the book, the title, the author, and how many stars I give it. So I do that as soon as I finish the book. And then at the end of every month, I just go copy, paste, and I put some of the pictures of the front pages of the books and throw it up
Okay.
there. And people in the comments will ask me questions about specific books. Oh, I've been meaning to read that, or oh, I like that too, which really is the whole point. You're not
Mhm.
trying to be like Goodreads, right? Or if every time after you finish it, if you want to do a longer review, just do it right then. Right?
That was always the plan, but when I started doing it, I had some that I had read within the couple previous years that really stuck with me that I wanted to review. And those I still haven't done. So that's kind of where I'm at.
It starts with a habit.
Right.
Books do you read a month?
Not enough.
No?
I tend to
not a
binge
rule.
and starve and binge and starve.
Okay. Well, you can do it one of two ways. Every time you finish a book, post about the book.
Post. Yeah.
Like you may think that you need to share about more valuable, life-changing books, but a lot of people are just read this.
I've got one on my list right now that when I post the review, it's going to be, I did not like this book.
Yeah, I changed books
And
last
here's
night
why.
because I got a third of the way into a book and I couldn't finish it. It's going to be a DNF in my list. Like I tried real hard, couldn't finish it. I think maybe you're just overthinking your posts
Probably.
and what people
And
might
that's
think
what I
about.
do. That's what I do.
Which is
I
totally
overthink
normal.
things. Yeah.
So normal. I think I am in the minority when I say I don't care about my post at all. Deanna and I are visions of extreme opposite posters. Like something will come out, we'll be together and I'll be like, we got to post about that. And my post will be up in 3 minutes. And she, an hour later, is still trying to figure out which emojis to put where after she's crafted the most perfect message. And I'm like, I'm going to get just as many likes as you are. Like, why did it have to be so perfect? Just like, but she overthinks which causes paralysis, right? It causes her not to post because she knows she's going to have to sit there for an hour to create the perfect post.
That's the phrase I was trying to think of. Analysis paralysis.
Yes.
That's me.
Overthinking.
Yeah. It's just don't. Here's the thing I always remind everybody is like 7% of your followers are going to see your post. That's all. Probably 3% of those are going to scroll past it real quick. And, 4% of them might read it. If lots of people comment, more people are going to see it. But the thing is just to get in the habit of posting. Just get in the habit of posting.
Well, and and I'm not doing a good job of it, but I'm trying. Somebody spoke at convention. I think it was Amber Miller on the first day. She spoke about the 4 posts to do every day, something with your face, make a recommendation, something about your daily life, and something about plexus.
Yeah.
And so I tell myself I'm trying to do that. I've put my face out there a couple times, which I don't usually do.
What's the deal with the face?
Just so people, are you asking about why Amber said that or why Angie's not doing it?
No. Like what's the thought process behind it? Because obviously I know I can understand like something about daily life and plexus and a recommendation, but what's the thought process with the face? Just like a selfie or something, or?
Yeah, because people are your friends on Facebook because they want to see you. The percentage of interaction I get is so much greater when it's a picture of me, whether it is sweaty with no makeup on or from a photo shoot or whatever. If my face is shown, I will get so many comments. If it's just a picture of something else, not many. If it's a plexus thing, no comments. But because they're commenting on the picture that my face is in, they now will start to see all of my other posts. So you have to post something so that they see you, because that's actually why they're there. To see what Abby is doing, to see what Amy's doing, to see what Angie is doing. And people like to not feel alone. So to think that you have to have your makeup on and your hair done to post whatever you have going on is not true. Like just
I have a hair appointment later, so maybe once all the stuff is in my hair, I'll post a picture of that. Except I don't like to confess that I color my hair. So
can I give you a suggestion?
what?
Take lots of pictures, change shirts like 6-7 times.
While I have dye in my hair?
Not while you have dye in your hair, but once it's done and you're fixed, when she's done your hair and you're feeling all pretty, take lots of pictures of yourself in different outfits.
Well, actually, I'm going to tell her not to do much to my hair after she's done it because I'm going to come, my cousin's coming over and we're going to DoorDash lunch and hang out in the pool this afternoon. So there's no point getting my hair done. It's just time to do the roots.
Okay.
But I hear you. I hear you. And I always tell myself I'm going to do that. And then when I do get put together, the once or twice a week that I do get put together, I'm in a rush. And by the time I get back, I don't look as good as I did when I started. And, you know, that analysis paralysis
It
all
only
over
takes
again.
2 seconds to take a selfie.
That's what you think. I am terrible at selfies.
Prop it up on a window. See my window over here where the
Uh-huh.
light is great? I'm all the time. Goes right here. See? The light's great because it's coming in. You can't see, can you? Hold on.
Not really.
Anyway, it's just up here on the window frame. It's always the perfect height. And I can spin, oh, and I can smile, and I can be cheesy, and I can take 20 photos, and 2 are gonna be great, and I'll use them. It takes a minute. You just set your timer on 3 seconds.
I'll have to try that.
I use the windowsill in my kitchen all the time too, the window that's over my sink. If you have one of those, just look for a window and prop your, almost always it's gonna prop up right in a very good spot that's straight for you.
I'm looking.
Okay, we are about out of time. Let me see if there's is anything really important about 111. Angie, I know you haven't read, I don't know if anybody else read chapter 6, but right in the middle of 111, this is where I was talking about, so just put a star next to it. But as you prepare your message, always start with finding out who your audience is. And that's where I put, when sharing plexus, remember what it was like to be skeptical and hopeless. That was my own note to myself.
Well,
Anybody-
also
oh,
he
go ahead.
talks about staying your strength zones right under that where it says, when you know who your audience is, you begin to get a sense of what they need. So you know how to communicate with them.
1 gazillion%. And doesn't that also fall right in line with how we're supposed to answer what is plexus? I could bore you with the science and details, but let me just ask you this. What 2 health issues have been bothering you? That's doing your research. They are sharing with you things that they need help with. You are getting to know your audience by asking them about problems that they have. Let's see.
What did you say? It was remember what it's like to feel something and hopeless?
Oh, I said skeptical.
Skeptical. Thank you.
That's a pretty large group of our potentials, right? Page 118, the bullet points to create a good takeoff. I also feel like those are good post ideas. So I kind of highlighted those as post ideas, things to post about. And bottom of page 123, this goes back to me sharing how I always had ideas of things to go live about. And it is to remain relevant and relatable, learn something new every day. Keep searching and exploring, keep asking questions, live new experiences, read and file content every day, love what you do, and always update any lesson you intend to teach more than once. Your content will keep getting better only if you keep getting better. If you're continually growing, you will never run out of content and you will always have something worth saying. Let me share along those lines something that is really great when it comes to content. This book, John C. Maxwell, The Daily Reader, that I'm not great at reading every day, but I do when I need content. Look how short it is. Like if you're like, I don't know what to say to motivate people today or whatever, look how short. Like this is a day where you just read. He gives you something It's 365 days of insight to develop the leader within you and influence those around you. So not only is it good for you as you're growing, these are great, easy, simple things that you can share with other people. Who isn't trying to get better? You know, and even if it's like a small one like this that I literally just share the quote on my page. So look for ways of whatever inspires you, makes you happy, that you love, and share it. The reason I have so many books is because, well, that's not so many books. Those are just my personal development books. Those are all personal growth books or small business books, is because I'm just constantly trying to grab information, and I want to grow and learn every day, but then I also want to share to help other people learn and grow every day. That's just what I love to do. Okay, any closing thoughts? You guys have been amazing. Who can commit to posting for the next 5 days? You guys, it's the end of the month. Can you post every day till the end of the month?
What's the criteria? Because that's my type A personality. Like, I need to know, are we following what the lady at convention said, where you're doing the 4 posts a day, or is it just 1 post a day?
I usually do 1 Plexus post and 1 post about something else that's going on in my life. I think
Okay.
if you follow my page much, I'm obsessed with my children, working
Yep.
out, which I haven't been able to do. So I've been obsessed with my shoulder sitting in my recliner.
You're doing the rent house.
Yes. Yep. Remodeling the house. Thank you, Angie. Plexus, my family, the remodel that we've been doing, and exercise. So I may only make 2 or 3 posts a day. I may only make 2, but I always make at least 2, because 1 is something that I'm passionate about and 1 is Plexus.
Okay.
And by passion, I mean my kid glaring at me while we do homeschool. Like, literally, it doesn't have to be like, look at this beautiful garden I did and I'm so passionate about it. It is like, I am obsessed with my children and share pictures of them all the time. That's one of my passions. Is that helpful?
Yep. I mean, I post a lot with personal life with the dogs and the kids, so
Yeah.
it's just getting the Plexus post in there.
And the Plexus Go app has lots of side-by-side before and after pictures.
Okay.
With
I still haven't
content.
taken the get into that and learn that.
You don't have to learn much. If you have the app, hold on. Just to make sure so if you have the app, at the very, very bottom on the green,
Mhm.
on the gray, you click library, and then you're going to click US English, and then tools for business. And there's convention breakout sessions, literature, there's all kinds of stuff, but this one is sharing resources and testimonials. And it has before and after and testimonials. There's actually no difference between the two, I have discovered, but they have different people in them. So see, they have side by sides. And if you click on it, it has,
Does it have their story with it?
yep. You can literally
Oh,
copy it. You just copy it and post it.
Okay.
And there's lots of them. And then there's a whole different set of them. That was testimonials. There's a whole different ones on before and afters.
Okay.
You don't even have to think hard.
Yeah.
And they're
Right.
clearly compliant because Plexus put them out there.
Perfect.
Thank you for
And
that.
that takes like 30 seconds. There's no analysis paralysis. You could set a reminder in your phone that goes off like at 6 o'clock or 7 p.m. when people are starting to veg out and look at their phone. It says Plexus post, hop over there, copy paste, put it up, you're done. Okay.
Perfect.
It's the
Thank
end
you.
of the month. Finish strong. Even if you haven't been
Yep.
trying all month.
10 days.
Nothing like the end of the month to finish strong, to get excited. Okay.
Yep.
All right, you guys, you're awesome.
Thank
Thank you
you.
for jumping on.
Thank you, Christy.
All right, bye guys.
Bye.
Bye.